and she works remotely all the time from Ohio, and I made her a co-host. So it's like fine, but then like mine decides to like freak out, and I'm like, glad you're the host, Shelley, cause.
Over the summer, I had a Zoom meeting, and we were all learning about Zoom, and this thunderstorm was happening. And the thunderclap happened like right outside my window. Okay. See, how are we looking on Zoom for, is everyone in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can start. All right, so. Afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today for the March 6th, 2024 Staff Senate meeting. I think we have quite a number of people on Zoom today. I know sickness is going about various areas, but with that, we call this to order at 1:17 p.m. And then I'll turn over to Secretary Gothinger for roll call.
Thank you, President Coma. Do I have a Senator Archer for a proxy? Senator Baker Joseph.
Here.
Senator Baker Ty.
Here.
Senator Beatty.
Present.
Senator Como, President. Senator Check.
Present.
Senator Byfield. Senator Grothinger, President. Senator Hand.
Present.
Senator Harris. Senator Henderson is proxy by Senator Grossinger. Senator Jackson.
Present.
Senator Crayson.
Present.
Senator LaFleche. Anybody proxy for him? Senator Lubers. Senator McGinley.
Present on Zoom.
Senator Moody.
Present.
Senator Monahan.
Present.
Senator Nelson for proxy. Senator Panton.
Proxy, Kimberly Snowdy. On Zoom.
Senator Robinson has a proxy as well. Senator Swizik.
Present on Zoom.
Senator Tang.
She's just coming into Zoom right now.
I'll mark her. Senator Von Cleve.
Here.
Senator Vogt.
Present on Zoom.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Wolfenberger.
Present on Zoom.
Senator Adams. Proxy.
Just hit, we're not issues a senator.
Not anymore.
Double check out.
Senator Galagos. Gallegos. Senator or President Como, we do not have a quorum. We're one.
I believe Senator LaFleche just arrived, and I think Senator Archer.
We have a
is
quorum.
on Zoom.
Archer is on Zoom. Is that correct?
Alex Christina's on Zoom. I don't know if you heard her. Did she say present?
Alex, who?
Christine?
Did I say that? I think I got her.
Okay, and Austin Jackson is on Zoom.
Yes. And now we do have.
Did you say Senator Tang, Mr. Ryan?
Yep.
Yes, I counted her as she came.
Okay, so we do have a form?
We do now have four.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next order of business is the approval of the February meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the February minutes?
I move.
Do I have a second? Any discussion regarding approval of the February meeting minutes? In that case, do we have a motion to, apologies, everyone, I'm drinking for today. All in favor of approving the February minutes as written, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Okay, February minutes are approved. Next order of business is the approval of our March agenda as written. Do you have a motion to approve the agenda? Do I have a second? Very much. Any discussion regarding the agenda for today's meeting? Seeing none, please indicate approval of the March agenda by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Okay, March agenda is approved as is currently said. Next up is elections. Senator Hand, do we have any updates regarding elections?
We are in the process of recruitment for new senators. So there's a poster that's gone out, thanks to Senator LaFlesche. And we are also actively emailing the constituents in seats where there are vacancies. There's also the nomination for officers that is going out. So both of those will be voted on in May, but we're actively soliciting nominations. So please share the word and let me know if you want a poster.
Senator Hand, just to make sure I'm aware, those have to all be submitted before the end of the month, is that correct?
The officers should be submitted by the end of the month. The Senate nominations can go up till the end of April.
Okay, thank you very much.
Senator nominations, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Any apologies, any other questions or discussion regarding elections for officers or incoming senators? Yes, Secretary Brisson.
Thank you, President Como. Do we have a process in place for bringing new senators on other than like an orientation, like introducing someone and then having discussion with them as a staff senate or something like that?
I'm gonna turn that over to Senator Hand.
So as chair of governance committee, usually I work with President Como and Christina to meet with prospective senators and explain what is involved. Senator Baker, Ty Baker has also been interested in helping with that to make sure that it's very clear what the expectations are. But then as far as the new senators who are interested and are nominated and voted in, we will only have the June, is it June?
I
Yeah.
believe July was last time.
Anyway, the retreat will be their biggest learning opportunity.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all right. Next up, we'll move into confirmations. Now, I don't believe we have any confirmations today. Christine, is that correct? Very much. With that, we're going to turn over to Provost Carmen, since he does have to leave for another appointment after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Mo, and appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. Just a few updates of things going on over in Old Main, or not always in Old Main. For example, this morning I met with the advising managers in Nighthall and during their regular meeting, and specifically to have a discussion about how we can connect better with community colleges in terms of advising students as they enter community colleges, sort of a co-advising model. So to make sure that those students who want to come to UW will successfully complete their associate's degree and then be well prepared to transition smoothly to the university and make good progress towards their degree. I was very pleased by the enthusiasm of the advisors, a little skeptical going in, you know, we're gonna say, give me some more money or something, and they said, no, we can do this, we have systems to make this work. So this has been a very high priority for President Seidel and me as well, so I'm just really pleased to see us move the needle on this. It's sort of a follow-up to, we've been working closely, particularly with LCCC, and have signed an MOU with them to help enhance our collaboration between our two institutions. As you may know now, or you may not know, we're working with them to teach what's called a co-requisite math class. Historically, we have not taught remedial classes in math, but many students show up that have math deficiencies, and there's a model that's called the co-requisite, where they get essentially real-time remedial math while they're taking their college level math and get that college credit in their first semester. LCCC has been doing this for some time, and they're now working with us to deliver classes for our students who need that additional assistance. So that's an example of how we've been working closely. But we're also hope to expand this to all community colleges. I've been talking with the leadership of Central Wyoming College and Casper as well, and they're enthusiastic about enhancing our partnership with the university. So that's all very encouraging. Transfer students are 40% of our university. They're a really important part of who we are, yet there's still many more students that we feel that we can attract to the university. Okay, I'm sure you've heard the rumor that the legislature is in session, and it's been kind of a wild ride up to now, and it's not done. Mike Smith has been eating and sleeping at the Capitol for the last several days, and he's there this evening. It's or today, and will be until the session ends. I really don't have anything concrete to share with you at this point because it's still a very fluid situation. I think we've made some good progress in some issues that were of concern to us, and there are others that we still have concerns about. So the two matters that you probably heard most about. One was the carve out of gender studies. In fairness, we actually don't have a gender studies program. We have a gender and women's studies program, but nevertheless, that it was an issue. And then the diversity, equity, and inclusion issue has also been one that has been of concern to us. So, again, I don't know how these are going to turn out. I know that folks are working hard to try and resolve them, but I also know that it's a difficult environment right now in the legislature. We're also not entirely clear how the governor will come down to some of these issues. So lots of variables, but we should have some closure, hopefully by the end of the week, although it's possible that the session could be extended a few days as well. And it's also possible that there could be a special session that has to be called later this year. So just a lot of unknowns, but a lot of important issues for us that are under consideration. We'll also mention that I'm co-chairing a committee on campus safety, co-chairing with Bill Mai and Parag Chitnis. And this is at the charge of President Seidel. Mike's very well aware of this. And it's broadly speaking to look at issues related to safety on campus writ large, whatever they might be. Whether they might be sidewalks out of repair or laboratories that don't have proper storage of chemicals. Really, anything is fair game. So I would encourage you, would welcome any thoughts and input that you might have of issues that you see on campus that may impact safety of all of us. So any ideas are most welcome. This is going to be an ongoing committee, and I'm looking forward to some good work coming out of that. I understand that we have Staff Appreciation Day coming up on April 16th. I look forward to seeing you there. I also understand that you're looking for some faculty volunteers to participate. Is that right? Yes. Okay, so we'll be putting out a call for that in my letter this week, and that we can drum up some folks who are interested to serve the pre-made food to staff. That sounds good to me. Where are you getting your food this year? You know,
Concessions.
concessions.
Yeah, we're having a AA, so we're gonna use their concessions.
Great. The last thing I'll mention is that I'm sure you're aware that we have a lot of we have several situations where deans are in the process of being appointed. And so we'll be going to the board in March. We will be recommending an interim dean for the College of Health Sciences and for the College of Agriculture, Life Sciences, and Natural Resource, which we now pronounce Kelsner. Everybody needs to practice that, Kelsner. We'll also be making recommendations regarding libraries and college of education. So the board ultimately has authority on hiring and firing deans and above. So this is, we come to them with a recommendation. We're not entirely clear if they will approve our recommendations at the March meeting or if we have to get final approval in April because they have what they refer to as a two-step process where they give us authority to negotiate with the candidate and come back with a final offer for them to approve. But we did discuss this with them in January, so we're not entirely clear if that counts as the first step or the second. But anyway, we should have some resolution to those leadership positions no later than So happy as always to try and answer any questions.
Sabrina?
If anyone is interested in sharing issues of safety, who or how will they contact, how will they contact?
Probably the smartest way to do it would be to send a note to Mandy. You could send it to me, but it might get lost in my inbox. So yeah, Mandy would be.
Senator,
Como. Thank you. I'm actually the SNF Senate rep on that. I wasn't here for the first meeting because I was in Mexico, but yeah, you can send things to me as well.
There you go, great suggestion.
So send any questions to Senator Moody to pass along to Senate staff's behalf. And Senator LaFleche.
Yes, thank you, Provost Carmen. What kind of a seamless process do we have in regarding our transfer students for Saddle Up? Is that an option for them or do they have to be part of that?
That's a great question. It is an option for them now. And we've had a transfer Saddle Up each of the last 2 years. Last year's was, I think about 150 students participated in it. It's a scaled down version. It's not a week-long process. It's about a day and a half. But that's something that is a major concern of mine and priority given, these is a big part of our community. We want to make sure that they transition. So we haven't made the move of making it a requirement as of yet. We won't do that this fall, but I would like to get to that place where it's a requirement, sort of air quotes, because it's often people, especially transfer students, have families and other issues that may be a challenge for them to be able to take a couple of extra days to participate. The first time full-time freshmen, we feel like we kind of own them. They're coming in and we can make them do that. But really are trying to pay a lot of attention to transfer students. I'd also like to get to a point where we have some sort of, maybe not as full-blown as Saddle Up, but some sort of equivalent onboarding process for students who start in the spring, start in January. They're kind of a forgotten group in some ways that they don't get the same sort of programming as the fall students.
You have fairly large contingent of graduate students that will start in the spring, don't we?
Most of them start in the fall, but we certainly do have some that start in the spring. Graduate students tend to have, well, first of all, they're sort of by definition a little more mature. They've been to college. They sort of, they know what the college experience. They may not know what graduate school is like. I know it was a shock to me. But they also generally have more infrastructure within their programs to get on board. So, but I'll mention that to emergency.
And of the transfer students who did participate in Saddle Up, did they find that extremely helpful?
The feedback is kind of anecdotal, but the feedback that we've received has been very positive. What we don't have right now, now that you mentioned it, I should gather this information. I've looked a lot at the information regarding retention of students and success of students who've gone through Saddle Up. But I haven't looked at those who participated in the transfer student to see if we're actually moving retention. Saddle Up does improve retention. We're at record highs fall and spring retention. We've seen a significant bump up in fall.
Yeah, it's been fantastic for our freshmen.
we got kind of a bumpy start, but we learned from our experience and it's much better next year and, but continue to improve, but I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, I will say working in student affairs, the second year settle compared to the first, the organization was improvements were noticeable. So, are there any other questions for Rebel Scrum? Any on Zoom? Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Como, appreciate it.
I'll be.
Okay, see you then.
Okay, moving on to external liaison reports. I don't believe ASUW President Cameron was able to make it today, but is there a representative from ASUW present here or on Zoom today? Okay, it doesn't look like it. We'll move into faculty senate reports.
Bob is on Zoom, actually.
Oh, my apologies.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, President Como. Actually, I don't have a report for you this month, so.
Thank you very much. It was nice to see you. All right, moving into administrative reports, we'll start with the president's office. The main limited today is here for the administrative operations manager.
Thank you, President Como, and thank you, Senators, for having me today. I just have 3 brief updates from the President's office. The first one regarding the town hall that was on February 29th. President Seidel just wanted to express his appreciation for everyone that participated and share that he is committed to continuing these events each semester throughout the year and encourages all staff participation and attendance. The next update I have is regarding the Presidential Leadership Institute. And those applications are open through March 29th. And this institute will run from May through September, and it focuses on staff leadership competencies, including communication, conflict management, and leadership styles. And the last update that I have is regarding Staff Recognition Day, specifically the Presidential Excellence Award. This is a staff award, and those nominations are open through March 8th. And it has a $1,000 cash award, and it recognizes staff who have made outstanding contributions to the strategic plan. Those are the updates on the president's office.
Thank you very much. Before we move on to the next report, any questions? Yes.
Thank you for being here, Megan. I have a quick question for the town hall, and maybe I should already know this, so I apologize if this is common knowledge. Was it recorded and saved anywhere?
Yes.
Okay, is it just like?
Yep, so it'll be on Wildcast under the office of the president.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. All right, next up, ombudsperson Nellie Dodd. Thank you for being here, Nellie.
Thank you. Good to be here. Sorry if my throat is weird. It's been a couple of months of health challenges. A few things from the ombuds office. I just been looking this up to make sure I don't get anything. Our annual report is out, and I should have brought some copies, but we will have a copy posted on the website. And also our charter has been approved, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. No, it has been approved. And that was a amazingly cooperative effort. And so thanks to everybody who took part in that. And it was also an expeditious effort. I have heard of other places that have taken many years to get their charter. So yay for the University of Wyoming. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the Ombuds Office is starting a lending library. So we'll have some helpful short books on conflict resolution, conflict strategies, different conversation strategies. So if you're interested in borrowing a book that maybe isn't in the library, or maybe is, you're welcome to get in touch with us. And we'll also post a list of titles on the website. of available books. One of my favorites is Conflict Resolution for Dummies. Because, you know, we're all kind of dummies when it comes to that because, you know, when we get upset, our IQ literally goes down 20 points. And I don't know about you, but I can't afford it. I just can't afford that. So yeah, so get in touch if you're interested in that, and get in touch if you just wanna talk about an issue in the workplace or pretty much anything else. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Next up, Office of Research and Economic Development.
Thank you, President Como. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we no longer use the terminology Office of Research and Economic Development. It is Research and Economic Development Division. And since Parag would love it if you changed that. Since our last update where we talked about our Research Excellence Dinner, a lot of things have happened, but what I'm just gonna present today is that Friday, our new director for the Center of Entrepreneurship and Innovation started. His name is Robert Macy. We sent an announcement out to everybody today, so you look in your email and maybe read that one. So Robert is looking forward to meeting with all personnel in all colleges in any way he possibly can. He is going to start with meeting with deans of colleges, department heads, directors of schools, and Connor, who is also new to the VP's office, is going to be reaching out to everywhere to schedule these one-on-one meetings with Robert. Robert is crazy. But anyway, he is really looking forward to bring the culture of entrepreneurship and innovation to all areas and all members of the UW family. Everybody is part of this. Staff can be as entrepreneurial as any faculty or students. Look forward to that. I think we're gonna try and host a little meet and greet. That'll be able to get everybody, but that is TBD. Do you have anything to add, Connor?
No.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, next up, Division of Budget and Finance. Vice President King, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. As the provost sort of noted, we do not have a final budget bill over in the state legislature at this point in time. The conference committee came to an agreement, but that has to go back to both floors. The general timeline that was mentioned in that conference committee yesterday was perhaps Thursday afternoon, go to the floors for them to understand the conference committee's position. I will just note that this is sort of a all or nothing. They either accept the whole proposal or they vote it down. And they went through 2 conference committees this year, which is pretty unusual. So I would hesitate to say anyone can anticipate the outcome of the vote tomorrow afternoon. With that said, if it goes through as the conference committee report would indicate, by and large, the university really did receive everything that was requested through our exception budget process, with the exception of 2 things. One would be a continuation on the compensation plan for the university. The governor had recommended a delayed effective date, but a pretty significant amount for the university beginning July 1 of 2025. As the conference committee report stands right now, the university would get, I believe, around a little over $2 million, but again, not effective until July 1 of 2025. So that would be no raises effective this July. So that was one piece that really didn't come through as requested. The other piece was a request for additional positions in campus operations. High need positions in that area. There was a fair amount of discussion about it, but at the end of the day, no amendments to add those dollars back into the university budget. So really one net add and was to put in addition $2.5 million of matching funds for programs within the College of Agriculture, Natural Resources and Life Sciences. That was a net addition on top of what the Appropriations Committee had come up with. On the flip side, there is, as the conference committee has written, a reduction of a little over $1.7 million alongside the language on the use of appropriated dollars for the Office of Diversity, Equity and Inclusion. Again, that is not final language, but that's what the conference committee report essentially came out with. So all in all, the university essentially received the vast majority of what was requested. There was one other addition that was made in the budget process by the Appropriations Committee, which added money for a matching program for equipment and expansion of services of the Center of Innovation Flow through Forest Media. The language in the budget bill through the conference committee would add $50 million match, state match. If there is a company out there that would be willing to match those dollars, there has been discussions with a company to do that. So that's sort of an add-on. So when you add it all up, university in the budget, as it would go back to the floors, is pretty solid position, understanding that there are some challenges as the provost noted, and language there that we just need to wait and see how it falls out through the votes in the two chambers and then through the governor's process. So that puts us in a little bit of a challenging situation through the university budget process. We're right in the middle of that. All of the divisions and subdivisions should have submitted their budgets to the budget office as of essentially Monday. That process then goes through a review either directly with the president or with the provost for the academic divisions, and recommendations coming out of there. There's really no other way to put it other than there is not a lot of available resources to allocate out on campus. It's basically status quo moving forward. The reality of that is, despite a 4% tuition increase, our enrollment numbers, particularly non-resident undergraduate, continue to decrease as compared to where we were over the last 5 years. And that on the non-resident side really has a financial impact. And so given the numbers that I know right now, we would essentially be reducing our anticipated non-resident undergraduate tuition by about $6 million. And that's a significant hit. And it's not just in the tuition field, it's also all of those fees that are associated with it. And that impacts housing and dining, it impacts athletics, it impacts student affairs. It just has ripples all through the budget. And so even though we may have additional revenue from a few other sources, we have to be really cautious about allocating out ongoing spending at this time, given our understanding of enrollment numbers. That is not to say there isn't a significant push to try and increase enrollment. The Board of Trustees did authorize the $1.5 million to try and increase enrollment immediately. They're going out, they're doing marketing efforts. There's a lot of things that are happening right now with retention, all of those things. But the overall momentum right now is decreasing non-resident undergraduate numbers. And so I'll put that out there so there's no surprises that we're still in a financially challenging position. The president and through cabinet is really focusing in on what they believe are critical needs across campus to make sure that we can fund some of those critical needs, and in the process to kind of evaluate that and what is most important to the entire university. And that process is ongoing. But as it stands right now, we received the staff Senate budget proposal. That will be certainly part of the conversation in total dollars. it's not a significant increase, in understanding the scope and who all, staff senate participates in staff senate now, understanding that expansion, certainly would be a consideration. I think it was submitted as a critical need, if I recall,
Yes.
correctly.
Yes, I mean, and I believe in the cabinet, Doc discussed the increase in staff. Senate representation coming soon, the budget reflecting that.
So, that will be part of the consideration, when we carry that forward to the president. So, the key date there, the president has to have a budget, to the board of trustees April 15. And, so hopefully we have an approved state budget, before we get to that date, or we're gonna have some challenges with the internal time.
Thank you very much for that update. Senator Hand, I saw you.
Thank you, President Como. I have a question about whether the argument has put forth to the legislation that eliminating DEI may be a reason that we have lower non-residential enrollment, that there might be a correlation, or has anyone put that forth? Or have you been following that? I'm not sure.
President, yeah, and I defer to.
We have that argument forward in both videos.
Okay, thank you.
Can you just help me understand like what it means? So if the budget passes on Thursday, this is my understanding. And they move forward, like you've mentioned, it's kind of an all or nothing, so they say yes or not. And with the language right now, with the like appropriations can't be used for DEI, what does that mean if they vote yes? Does that mean it's completely off the table? Like, what's the next steps?
I think if you look nationally at what happened, in similar states, what's tend to happen is you change the title of the office. You look at some of the language in which you're using, but there's still gonna be a commitment to doing the work. There are some federal pieces and some state laws that make us do some of those components as well too. But we'll stay committed to doing the work and make the changes and do the work within the company.
You, President Como, Senator, and visitors. So, I have a question, and if you're gonna get to this in your report, VP Hall, I do apologize. But with the AVP position open and candidates coming to campus the past few weeks, if this does pass through the legislature, will that position still be filled?
I can't answer that now. It depends on where the language lie, but what we would have to do is figure it out and see if we can still have that position. I just can't.
Any other questions for VP?
None.
Sorry, one more question. So in regards to the delay effect for the no raises, this July, but potentially could take effect July 2025. That would be approved since the budget is a 2-year cycle. Does that mean it would be like approved for the 1 year and then you would go back essentially to the next budget session to put that back in? Is that how it typically works?
Right, so, any dollars that are available in the second year of the biennium, unless they restrict them to one time only, then become a recurring budget item. They go into what we consider the standard budget, and then they're biennialized, they're doubled for the next budget cycle. And so, essentially, that's what happened during this current biennium we're in. They had a step one that was effective for the first year of the biennium, and then they came in the supplemental budget and added more money to it. You push those two together, it's $20 million, and that's where we started for FY 25 is $20 million per year in compensation increases.
And is that pretty across the board for like all state agency and state employees, not just university, but other departments as well? Okay.
Yes, so the way the governor has managed this, although we have provided information specific to trying to hit certain targets, and we've been given the authority to manage the comp plan at the university side and not have to follow it's the same as state agencies. We have been treated the exact same on using it as a multiplier based on what 1% increase would be to a state agency or to the university. But the actual compensation plan, how those dollars are dispersed, they've given that authority to our board of trustees.
Any other questions for? Okay, move on to human resources with AVP Bob Link. Hope he's on.
Morgan Redmond.
Oh, thank you very much.
Human
Sorry about that.
Resources, Bob had a meeting, so he asked if we would come over. My name is Kira Polson, for those of you that don't know me, it's so nice to see some of you guys I've never met. So thank you for having us. And I want to first and foremost thank Secretary Grossinger for participating in the EAP RFP, in which we moved forward with picking our new Minds and Associates for our new EAP, and we were really pleased, and he put in a lot of hours and a lot of effort, and we just want to say thank you for supporting him in that effort. I also want to introduce Louise Watt, who you have probably, a lot of you haven't seen. She has not been to a staff senate meeting yet in person, and they're much more fun in person, I think. So I just wanted to introduce her. It's Sharice Watt. She's been in benefits for almost 4 years. She helps all of our new employees come in and do onboarding. She helps with all the benefit changes throughout our lives here at UW. And then she also helps people retire and a million other things in between. So I'm just glad you guys have a face with a name. But we just kind of wanted to do an overview with you because we just did 2 orientations with Minds and Associates via Zoom. And we just wanted to make sure some of you had seen that, participated, were able to do that. Did we record those?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're recorded. So if any of your departments want to reach out and have specific questions, please prompt them to do so. We really want to promote this and want everybody to use the EAP. I mean, those 6 free sessions per situation, it's just priceless, and it's much easier to do than people think. I mean, you can do it online, you can do an online intake, or you can just make a phone call and do a verbal intake. They do a screening, it's easy. I personally just signed up for the wellness coaching. Suzanne and Bradley Cooper had a coaching component of this, and it's a wellness component, and you can do 4 online sessions. They're only half-an-hour sessions, but it's amazing what you can get done in a half an hour if you come prepared. And it is just such a benefit. So they're just 4 sessions. You could use 4 half-hour sessions per year in 1 month. You could use them throughout the year to keep you accountable on your wellness workouts or however that looks for you. But it is something that we just really want to encourage people to try, even to just share with others. And we don't want any barriers for people. So if people are just like, I don't even know what to do, I don't know what even first step to do, and it would just be helpful to have someone walk us through or whatnot. I mean, just have them come up to the 3rd floor of Hill Hall. I'm in 341, you're in 339. And I mean, literally, we will throw our laptop across the desk and we would be more than happy to help anyone. We don't want any barriers. Like, everything's confidential. You'll close the door. We can just show you what's available. I brought some flyers today. I've downloaded an app called MLife. It's got all sorts of things like meditation, kind of like a morning, like get you in the mood for your day sort of thing. I just think we just want you guys to try it, to share, because it is such a huge benefit, and the university is really wanting people to stay healthy and be well, and this is a huge component of that. And we'd be more than happy to answer any of your guys' questions, so you can go out and share, but we just can't say enough about it. Yes.
So you mentioned that Zoom meeting was recorded. Where might we find the recording for people?
It'll be on the website. It's not on the website yet, but it'll be on the EAP page. So under human resources, under employee benefits, there's an EAP page.
Thanks, we'll put it out there.
I brought flyers, which I'm gonna leave up there for you guys. Take them, even if you're not interested, just take them back to your departments. There's not a ton of them. We will be getting all of these. We're gonna have some posters made for our big divisions, and then we might be asking for some of your guys' help for where you think posters might work well, just for advertising and just for people who, you know, just wanna walk by and learn. So just, do any of you guys have any other questions about it?
Do you have anything you want to, sounds like you just helped out with some assistance here, did, anything you want to share?
So what we ended up doing was it's confidential, so I couldn't share while I was doing it. And what we ended up doing was reviewing several EAP programs, and they're like thick documents, presentations. Once we went through those, we ranked them, and then we went on to presentations with our top 3, or was it top
It might have been
4? Top 4. And then from those presentations, we kind of changed our rankings and submitted those to HR. They kind of finished off, and that was kind of the extent I was involved, was just kind of helping them understand what the staff would view it as and what we're interested in receiving. And I think Minds and Associates met a lot of needs that I've heard from constituents and what I hear in here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have the ability through a 403B or a 457B to add more to your retirement funds. Through the mandatory retirement, you can't add more to your funds, but through the supplemental retirement, you can. And UW offers a $20 match if you'll contribute at least $20 a month. UW will match that to one of them, either the 403B or the 457B. We have 6 403B vendors that you can choose from and 4 457B vendors you can choose from to do that. And we looked at it, and there's about half of the benefited employees that don't participate in that. And it's a really great idea. It's a free $20 bill. Nobody misses $20 out of their paycheck. It's a really great idea to do it. You can start it, stop it, increase it, decrease it anytime within a payroll run. So if anybody is interested, contact Kira or me. We can help you, get you set up. It's a form. It's just getting online and creating an account with one of those vendors. If you already have TIAA, it's super easy to just add it to that. If you have WRS offers a 457B too, and that's just filling out some paperwork. So just a really great benefit if somebody isn't aware of it, to participate in that. So I would tell everybody about that too, or stop up and see us and we can help you do that.
We don't want any barriers. 1,300 people are not enrolled. We want people enrolled. So just come on up and say, get me the form, please, and then we'll run it down to payroll and it will be done. It's probably 3 minutes tops.
And you can put it in pre-tax or post-tax, whatever you want to do.
Thank you for that update. Does anyone else have any other questions? On Zoom. Oof.
That all sounds really simple when you say it. Completely confusing to me, so I'm gonna come see you.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on, Division of Operations, AVP Mike Sam, thank you very much for being here today.
Well, thank you, President Como. And for those of you I haven't met, my name's Mike. I've now passed 6 months in this position, but I've been on campus for, and now I'm on 27th year, so I've been around for a while. But I'm not certain how granular Vice President Mai got into some of these reports, but I brought a few notes and certainly be happy to answer any questions along the way. To start off with, I'll reiterate a little bit of what Provost Carmen talked about with the safety initiatives and some of that that we're looking at specifically within the safety office. For those of you who haven't heard, we've done a little bit of a reorganization in the safety office where we have a new director there. We've had a couple retirements, so we hired a couple new folks. We're trying to get caught up from several years where maybe the level of work wasn't where it should have been. And as a result, we've got some potential compliance issues. So we're looking at those, we're addressing the emergencies as they come up, but at the same time, we're trying to make sure that our reporting processes are all consistent and as available to the public as we possibly can. They've created a new link at the top of the safety office website to capture, issues that are not in my former role. So essentially, basic safety related concerns can all go to this one kind of central location. It's backed up with the University Operations Service Desk phone number. So you can talk to a human 24 hours a day and report safety related issues. Should it be something, that would rise to the level of an emergency, whether it be calling a plumber, electrician out, anything along those lines, we're in a much better place, I think, than where we were from a delegation standpoint. So certainly from a redundancy standpoint. Another thing we're looking at the safety office is they've got some historical data regarding workers' injuries on campus, and we're having them do an analysis on where those injuries occurred, what type of injuries they were, looking at everything from ergonomics to training deficiencies to equipment shortages, making sure that we're doing everything we can, whether it be from inside operations or external to operations, making sure we're addressing those. We've been pretty fortunate that we have a pretty good data set, both on internal to operations on the facility side, but also with these lab inspections. And that gives us a chance to go back and look at where they were and show us clearly where we need to be going forward. So we're definitely looking at all of those issues. Probably the biggest thing going on is, and most visible, is all of our construction projects. For those of you who aren't aware, 15th Street will be closing. It was supposed to close Monday. We had some unforeseen delays, but they will be starting some construction right up here at 15th and Ivinson as of tomorrow. That street's supposed to shut down. That stretch will likely be shut down throughout the remainder of summer. The goal is to have that back open in time for move in the middle of August. So that is the goal, but you know how construction works in Laramie. So that one will be ongoing. Planning is certainly still in process for the longer term completion of that project. Law school's coming along very well. We had that question come up from our own folks, but they are shooting for a completion date right at the start of classes in the fall for the law school. I know the stonework is actually ahead of schedule, so that's a good thing in our climate. The stadium is also, you should start seeing some progress as it comes out of the ground. It's my understanding that they have most of that the footings all completed. They're doing some backfill work. They had some compaction grouting and some sistering of some columns that had to occur to provide support for the new lower section of the stands. The schedule, they just came out, you probably saw last week for football. I bought them a little bit more time. They got a late start for the football season, so that gives them a little bit more time on that project. The dorm's coming right along. Again, it's a little bit longer out when we look at the completion date, but they are becoming very evident now what they're going to look like. My office is now almost in the shade on the other side of that. So it's been quite the undertaking, but those are the major projects. Science Initiative is also going through a build out for those of you in that building and then that corridor, shooting for fall on that completion as well. But it will be somewhat ongoing as some equipment arrival times are going to be a little bit later than originally anticipated. From the space allocation standpoint, we are going through finalizing the Mountain View complex and how all of those dominoes will impact campus and the units that are moving up there. Certainly we have some work for some of our shops, both on the renovation and the maintenance of that building. I can say, one of the things I've been most pleased about in this new role is the dedication the folks in our shops. It's a great bunch of folks that are highly professional, highly dedicated, and know what they're doing. And it's really been a blessing to see those folks do their jobs and do it well and keep this campus operating. So certainly different from, not different from the work ethic of my former shop. It's just, you know, those tasks, the same level of quality of folks in those roles. So that really is it. We are certainly looking for more help for those of you, if you happen to be an electric engineer, electronic door technician, plumbers. We're looking for almost all of our skilled trades. So if you know good folks, feel free to send them our way. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? And so 15th will be closed starting tomorrow, is that correct?
That was the last I heard, but those targets seem
My
to be,
route accordingly.
yeah, they've been moving targets largely.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes.
You mentioned there's a link on the safety website, and so just if people were to identify any kind of safety concerns, you want them to fill that out on the website?
Correct, and it will go to both, you know, UW operations and safety, depending on where it needs to be, but anything from, you know, an icy sidewalk or a door that doesn't work properly, you know, other safety concerns generally, that can all go to that kind of central reporting mechanism.
Senator.
Question as far as addressing safety. Now, we do have equipment issues, logistical where you work issues. What about personal safety issues like individuals? I'm not gonna point fingers or anything, but you basically are completely unaware of your surroundings based on your behaviors and how you act moving through campus. You are not really paying attention to what's going on around. You are not listening to what's going on around, and you're stepping out between cars. And is there any way we could address that?
You know, I address that very issue often, speaking to parents over the years, you know, not having tunnel vision, being aware of your surroundings. Certainly we can address it in our shops from a training perspective. We can reiterate it to the safety offices. They do their trainings across campus, but it seems to be a broad-based problem, not only to this campus, but if you go to downtown Denver or Fort Collins, you see the same thing where oftentimes folks are buried in their phones. And in particular, I have a daughter here who's a junior, and I've tried to make it abundantly clear that she needs to put her phone in her pocket and be aware of her surroundings. It's just a standard safety practice, but by all means, we, you know, certainly could consider like a media release or something sort of broader on campus if this group thinks it would be worthwhile.
Something that can be addressed and saddle up because for those coming to campus, haven't been to campus, don't understand moving around campus and the hazards of moving around campus when you're not aware of your surroundings.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. I believe VP Mike Smith is camped out at the legislature right now, so we'll have no government affairs updates, I believe. Which brings to, do we have any representative from student affairs here today? Okay. Not. Next is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Vice President Doug Hall, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. I'll do a couple updates for you all. Just a reminder, I do operate as our Title VI coordinator. We did come up with a limited English proficiency plan. I know there are times that you all give services in the staff place. You have folks showing up in your space where English is the second language. You have a third-party vendor where you're able to call that vendor and in real time get somebody to translate that information. We also have the ability to set appointments in advance. And so if you go to our website under limited English proficiency resources, you can see where you can send emails in advance to set those things up. And so I just offer that to you all. At some point, we'll get some I speak posters and you guys will put it around your state. The folks that come into your area, the English is the second language, they know how to identify themselves to you all for the service. just so people are tracking, the hospital is gonna use that service, our county clerk's gonna use it, LPD is gonna use it, UWPD is gonna do it, our sheriff's gonna use it, our local judiciary team is gonna use it, that way the folks in the county are using the same service. Once we get Albany County kind of situated, we can all work towards other counties throughout the state to make sure that they can be in compliance with Title VI. I also operate as our ADA coordinator as well. On April 8th and 9th, we're gonna do an external review of all of our accessibility policies and procedures around disability. We'll work closely with operations, disability support services. Of course, we have our accessibility committee, but the external reviewer is the Association of Higher Education and Disability. They will come in as a third-party vendor. They will meet with students, staff, and faculty, all the way up the food chain, and then they will have conversations about our policies and procedures. We will send out the agenda in the next couple of weeks. I hope that some of you all can participate, talk about your experience with accessibility, those kind of things. We'll also look at processes and procedures around faculty and staff accommodations as well too. And for people that don't know, we did tweak some language since I'm the ADA coordinator. If you have discrepancy in decisions around accommodations for staff and faculty, those will then come to me for me to review to make a decision for the university, just so you all are tracking on that. What I will just say is relates to the stuff that's going on in the legislature. It is hard, right? I just want to name it. It's not just hard on me. It's not just hard on my office. It's hard on our students, it's hard on our staff, and it's hard on our faculty. One of the things that I ask you all to do as we navigate these waters, we cannot control what the legislators are gonna do. We can't control what it's gonna be. I know our VP of Government Relations is working really, really hard. He just sent another email to us now that we're working through, and we will continue to do that. Regardless of the outcome, I don't want this to be a reflection on Mike Smith. Mike Smith is doing a hell of a job for us. He's doing all that he can to support this. I also want you to know that we're still gonna be committed to doing the work, right? Similar to what I said before, I think the biggest thing is sometimes when you're in these spaces, what I ask you all to do is still be committed to the process and not emotionally attached to the outcome. Regardless of the outcome that the legislator does, it doesn't change who I am, what I believe, or what we're gonna try to accomplish. It doesn't change that for the people in the space. What I ask you all to do is just to look to the left and right of you and take care of the people in our community, regardless of what the legislature does. The legislature doesn't have any jurisdiction on the way in which we treat each other, right, and how we make people feel in this community. And so, as hard as it is, I want us to take care of the people in this community. That's the key. Outside of that, I'll open up for any questions.
Thank you, VP Hall, for your comments. I really needed that. And I'm sure several others here in this room and on Zoom did too. So I thank you for that. My question is with Title VI and the translation, that's for oral, but sometimes like students who are upset, and of course, there's like multiple layers of confidentiality, but there'll be written communication. Is there translation available for that type of thing as well?
If people need video calls, that's also available as well too. Part of this is there are about 10 offices that we'll start with. And I'm gonna make those offices create their documents in Spanish. We're not gonna do all languages, we're not gonna do all departments, but there are specific departments like our UWPD, our counseling center, our student services, my office, our compliance pieces, those have to be in Spanish. And the reason that we're doing Spanish is because we surveyed the community. That's our largest language outside of English. And so there is the ability to convert documents. If units know that they're dealing with a situation where they need to convert documents and you're not part of that kind of 10 that we're gonna start to work with, you guys can reach out and then we can utilize those services to help them. When we do this for our first year, those funds will come more centrally. And then as we get into the next couple of years, we'll start to think about how folks build that into their budget. But whatever we do now, convert documents, and people need to use the services that will come from my budget and we'll take care of. But yes, we have the ability to convert documents. That information is on the website.
Does it include ASL?
It doesn't now, but we're tweaking the contract to be able to do that. And it's also HIPAA certified, so people need it for counseling, therapy, medical related things as well. It is also HIPAA certified. Just so people know, once we get that ASL lease, you have to download an app to have access to the video component, but it's there.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time, Chief. Second. Okay, I believe that concludes administrative reports. Thank you everyone who attended. We appreciate keeping us all updated. Next up is item 9 with guest speaker, and I do not believe we have a guest speaker today. Christine, is that correct? You? Okay, we'll be moving then into item 10, which is old business. And we'll start with legislation regarding the second reading of the bylaws. For those who were here last month, you may remember Secretary Grossinger was able to walk us through the first reading. I appreciate his work for that very much. For the second reading, we will be, I believe the plan is to just read the changed language. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Then afterwards, we'll proceed to a vote. Molly, is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm coming up here to see if I can help explain which parts are new, because this shows from the very beginning and that's not. Yeah, no, this is. This is correct. It's just that I need to see. Do you want to? Yeah, you want to drive? I just want to make sure that we only look at the changes that were on. Okay, yeah. I used highlighting to show just the second round changes. That's what I did. Okay, so here we go. I will direct you, or do you want to come up here, or can you read from there? Or you can.
These 22, that's what red is the changes.
No, highlighted is the changes.
Highlighted as the.
Red is the original changes that we already read through. So I would just start here and say D3.
Is this part of? Okay, it is.
Okay, I'll let you. I hope that explains.
So in item 5, D3, the change was the original reading, the number of staff centers elected in district will be determined by the number of employees in each division that represented by the staff. Senate with limit of 50 constituents per senator, and where we struck a double word Senate.
I think no, it's a misspelling.
As a misspelling. Moving through the document. On item 10, selection of officers of the Senate. Item D, we changed ad hoc officers, the Senate president with the advice and consent of the Senate, maybe appoint each other officers as identified by the rules and procedures of Senate, where we changed the spelling of Senate and the ampersand to the word and.
We added Senate at the beginning.
Okay, that was okay. Let me know if there's a change that you need clarified before we move on. So what is the red, Senator again?
Red is our original.
Is the original?
Yeah, I mean, our first reading.
From last month.
Black is original, red is first reading of the new bylaws.
That's what you read last month.
Yeah.
Item 13. E, in the conduct of the meetings, the most recent addition of is added, Robert Rules of Orders will prevail unless superseded by the rules of the staff Senate. Item H in the same area, the Senate will invite the president of the university to present at least once a year a general message on the state of the university. The Senate will consider any special recommendations made at any time by the university president. Yeah, university, so it makes sense. 15, A, the Senate will have the budget as determined annually by university procedures, included administrative assistant services, a salary for Senate president, office space, and appropriate support services. As well as B, we added, replace shall with will in A, B, and C. Item 16E is the one that we discussed extensively last month, where we changed it from, the proposed amendments to a revision of the bylaws will be provided to the university president. And we struck for approval and will become effective upon receipt of the university president's written approval. And that is what we struck. Is there any questions? Do you want me to read anything over?
Perhaps we can see on Zoom if there's any questions.
I don't see any emails.
Thanks, Senator Jackson. Okay, let me just check one thing here. So, I believe this is the second reading, we would then proceed to a vote. I would like to,
How many senators do we have on?
that's what I'm about to get to. I'd like to double check that we have a quorum.
My question is when you took roll, somebody showed up and you said, now we have a quorum.
Yes, LaFlash.
And one person has left this room, meaning we don't have.
He has proxy.
Okay.
There's proxy. Okay. Yep. So as long as we have the same people. Yep. Okay, that'll work. Yeah, and we have at least 3 proxy.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're following the rules.
Yes,
So we do have a quorum.
we do.
Okay. Okay, now I believe Secretary, you're saying, please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is a roll call vote.
For the bylaws,
Yes.
I believe, I'm not.
Yes.
Okay, it is a roll call.
Okay, just making sure. But first, or do you have any discussion, any other questions before we proceed to a roll call votes? I'd like to first thank all the work that went into this. It's been quite, it's been quite an undertaking, and still, like we said last time, quite surprised regarding the state of the bylaws, but in the short amount of time, I'm pleased with how they're looking. So thank you to everyone who spent so much time working on this. Appreciate it. If there's no further discussion, I guess we'll proceed to a roll call vote. And
Thank you, Mr. President Como.
oh wait, Senator.
Do we need to have a motion on the table to accept this?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, everyone. I've not had a copy today, so
I will make a motion that we accept the bylaws for Staff Senate as written and presented today.
do I have a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, thank you very much, Senator Moody, for that clarification. Seeing none, no further discussion, I will then proceed to a roll call vote, and I believe we need 2/3 majority for this to go into effect.
President Como, thank you. Senator Archer,
Aye.
Senator Baker Joseph, who is proxy.
His proxy says.
Senator Baker Ty,
Aye.
Senator Beatty. We can move on. The president does not have a vote, correct?
Correct.
Senator Check.
Aye.
Senator Fifield. Senator Gallegos, I believe, is absent as well. Senator Grosinger. Aye. Senator Hand.
Aye.
Senator Harris. Senator Henderson, I am proxy, she requested aye. Senator Jackson.
Aye.
Senator Crazen.
Aye.
Senator LaFleche. Aye. Senator Lubbers. He's absent.
Aye.
No. Senator McGinley.
Aye.
Senator Moody. Aye. Senator Monahan.
Aye.
Senator Nelson.
Proxy, aye.
Senator Panton.
That's the proxy. Aye.
Senator Robertson. Did you say nay? Okay. Senator Swizik.
Aye.
Senator Tang.
Aye.
Senator Von Cleve. Senator Vogt.
Aye.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Wolfenberger.
Aye.
Did we get a result from Senator Beatty? With 21 yeas, 1 nay, and 1 abstains, 91%. That is a pass.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, we now have our latest version of 2024 bylaws. Right, that's good. Thank you very much for getting that vote, Secretary Grossi, I appreciate it. All right, next order for legislation. Moment, everyone's getting my paper here. So it was supposed to be the third reading of Bill 60, which is in regard to Senate realignment of representation in order to encompass, let me rephrase. When we bring in administrative staff and contract staff later in July of this year, the bill was originally intended to be a restructure in order to make that process, I'm trying to think how I would like to phrase this, different organization structure to reflect that. However, in light of the bylaws and some other concerns from senators regarding the way the bill was structured, as author of the bill, I'm putting forward a motion to withdraw Bill 60 and instead, when we accept administrative staff and contract staff, they'll be brought into the fold within our current structure of how senators represent various districts and divisions across campus. Later down the road, if we'd like to restructure, we can, but I don't want us to feel like we're rushing into something that we may not feel comfortable with, and especially with our focus on getting in new bylaws. It didn't feel appropriate to me to have this bill as is right now. So as author of the bill, I put forth a motion to withdraw Bill 60 titled Staff Realignment and Representation.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we move forward to discussion regarding it. I think I need to reread the bill by picking wrong. Trying to make sure I'm following the rules properly here. Ollie?
I don't know, I've never
Did
read
anybody
about
want
how to
it
Oh, that's good. Does anyone want the bill to be read? Anyone? Oh, so it's, I mean, go.
Well, I was just gonna, I don't want it to be read myself personally, but I was raising my hand just to chime in to say I agree with this as a discussion. Senator McGinley and I had real issues with the way it was worded that would be very difficult to be able to implement. And so I think that we need to be a little more, we just might need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. So that's just my discussion. No.
Sorry.
President Cohen, my comment was, if you are pulling this, why are we basically spending any more time on it? Why are we discussing it if we're not gonna vote on it, if we're not going to?
We have to,
We're voting
we have to
for
vote
Oh, okay.
the pull it, and this is
Okay.
the discussion phase.
Okay. I just-
You answered it.
Senator Van Cleve, did you have anything?
No.
Okay. Yes, Senator.
Would we, President Como, would we go back to the drawing board or just revise what's there? Molly had some concerns with some of the structure.
If later down the road we'd want to restructure, I think plan B back to the drawing board, fresh eyes on it. If I recall correctly from the October meeting in 2023, when this was first brought forward, when Tim was staff senate president, I think there was like 2 options, and I do recall that some concerns were voiced, and I just want to make sure we're doing things properly if we are planning to realign. So I didn't feel comfortable with having the bill as is right now. Does that answer your?
Yeah, so if we go back to the drawing board, then we can make sure it aligns with our new bylaws.
That is absolutely correct. Okay. Senator,
President Como, are we gonna try and get this redone prior to those other groups joining? Or are we gonna wait until they're joined a part of our group to where they might be able to get more of control over steps of it? Does that make sense?
yes, I think I understand what you're saying.
I think that's the big concern for not only staff senators, but our staff across campus. Because some of the people in the positions that will be able to join have caused other issues across campus. And people are afraid that their voice is going to be taken away from them by when these other people are allowed to join.
Or answer that question, I'm gonna have Molly's also in case it ties into it. Senator Ham.
Well, I don't know if it's my turn because going Robert's rules, it might be good to give every other voice a chance first. So I think Senator Grossinger or Secretary Grossinger have his turn first.
I think that would be up to us to kind of take charge of watching that closely as we move forward with that. And when we take on those staff, we should definitely, if we see an influx of a bunch of administrators coming in and trying to do that, immediately like, hey, we need to present this bill. And maybe shut that down quickly.
But I guess my question, at that point, are we actually going to be able to do that?
I suggest that if we think that it's worth creating a bill to restructure, we might be able to create it prior to July. When administration comes in, they can vote on it. They, no matter how many senators they put forth, they'll never be majority. So there's no rush for that. We could start a committee to create that bill of restructuring. But I don't think that we have to push it forward so fast that we're gonna make a lot of mistakes. That's my suggestion.
And I like to share, I think, to be honest, again, as author of this previous bill, that part of it is being withdrawn is a symptom of it being rushed. So I would like to take the time to do something right. So after today, we want to make a new bill. We can look forward to that. And you want to start making on that, and also form committees dedicated to restructure. Sorry,
I don't know if Senator McGinley would like to share anything about this because she was also very, very big involved in helping me and her understand our reasons for not wanting this bill to go forward. So I just see that she's put her camera on. I don't know if that means her hands up.
Kind of, yeah. I just wanted to weigh in. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just important to get the people that we were given a directive to make sure that they were being represented, and here it is, like almost a year later, and that's not happened. I think it's important to get those voices on the Senate. I understand, you know, people's concerns, but I also think that maybe there's some misunderstanding about the terminology of those people's positions. You know, and so certainly not all of them are, you know, kind of in an administrative role any more than someone who's classified. In fact, there's quite a few positions where, you know, there's equal, titles that are someone's classified, but then there's someone who's an administrative professional. From my understanding from HR is that there's kind of particular reasons, like when they've kind of had to create a position that maybe wasn't a classified position. So I think that we need to have a better understanding as to what that terminology is. And I was wondering, and I haven't asked anyone, but if some of that actually will even change with the restructuring. And so that might affect some of those as well. So I guess I feel like it's just important to get people on and represented, and if there is going to be a change about who represents them, if they want someone who's contract to represent contract, I think that they need to have a voice in how that is established. And
Thanks,
that's
Sarah. Thank you, Senator McGinley. Did you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's it.
Senator Check.
President Como, to add on to what Senator McKinley said, they will be directors that could be part of staff senate. And if there's been issues that staff have had with directors, they would be, it's just the power. There's a problem of some staff on campus not wanting that change to happen like that. Just a thought.
Senator Monahan.
Thank you so much. I know sometimes with faculty, there's faculty who are not able or don't want to serve on certain committees if they don't have tenure for fear of retaliation. We need to look at similar policies, like what if you vote against your supervisor, especially with this Deloitte study in case for change coming through and how we're going to have solid line and a dotted line supervisor. And if you go against your dotted line, how much power does that person actually have? This is something that is piggybacking off what Senator Check is saying, but it's a true concern, not only for myself, but I feel for some other staff.
Yes, Lon, before you go, I'd like to chime in there. Just like using the example of supervisor, as of right now, certain classified staff could be direct supervisors of other senators. So just like to point that out there. That is
Right, it does exist now,
it technically exists, but that is both points. Sarah Hand.
That's what I was gonna say. Exactly what I was gonna say.
Going back to the matter of voting on the withdrawal of Bill 60, is there any other discussion before we move to a vote? Okay. I believe
The yay nay. Unless you have nays, then you can call for a attendance.
Yeah, I believe we should proceed with the yay nay vote. If there are any nays, we'll proceed to an attendance vote with needing a 2/3 majority as we just did a few minutes prior. So all in favor of drawing Staff Senate Bill 60 Senate realignment representation, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
For those opposed to the withdrawal of Staff Senate Bill 60 Senate realignment representation, please indicate by saying nay. Hearing none, Staff Senate Bill 60 is officially withdrawn. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and yeah. just wanted, that can be difficult, regarding this restructure of this bill. I just want to make sure that we as the Senate are preparing ourselves as well as possible, and I didn't think the bill in its current state spoke to the quality that we wanted from it, so that's why. Okay, moving on to item 11 with new business. Have any new businesses, any on the agenda, but I just want to check in. Yeah, there you go. I think there's a new message on this. Okay, so next we're gonna move into executive reports from staff and Senate Executive Committee, starting with myself. First off, I would like to thank everyone who participated in the town hall last week. And I believe, as Megan mentioned before she left, that recording, it sounds like it's on Wirecast, I believe is what she said. An office of the president. So if anyone was not able to attend, please, I encourage you to go back to view that recording. I did put forward a couple of questions from constituents, those were asked, and no, we had a very good turnout, I thought. Anyone who was present like to share their thoughts, but good turnout. Okay, so quick update regarding Staff Senate Resolution 250 that I've mentioned a few times now, regarding staff release time for classes, or courses, working with administration on changing some wordings on the tuition waiver forms. And I'd like to get, first, since we're in executive boards, I'd like to get staff and executive committee's feedback on that first. And first bring it to the full Senate for additional feedback before I go back to administration with these discussions, so everyone's voice is heard. Does that make sense? Everyone? Okay. But yeah, so this is an ongoing process. We are making headway, and I want to make sure that we're taking the time to really view what I'll send out to everyone and give feedback in order to do our best to represent staff for this. Next up, Senator constituent engagement, and Molly might have you pull you in here a little bit, heads up. I'd like to remind everyone that the constituent list does update monthly. This is due to staff changing departments, leaving the university, being hired by the university. So it is not a static environment. It is fluid, it does change. Now, as staff senators, it is our responsibility to make sure you're going to that updated list every month to make sure you're reaching out to your constituents with like the Nelson report, the minutes from staff senate, or for example, we have an upcoming Q&A with AVP Bob Link on March 19th to make sure they're aware of that. Just making sure you're keeping the most up-to-date list possible. Don't save lists once and call it good. That might only be valid for 1 month. And Molly, I'm gonna have you chime in here a little bit regarding accessing the list in case everyone needs a refresher.
Okay. Thank you, President Como. I am very, very willing to work with you via Zoom if anyone is having issues accessing the list. But as it is right now, I've tried to make it as simple as possible. Go into SharePoint. It's one of the files in the home folder, and it should be called, it's called something like constituents or Senate constituents, something like
Yeah, it
that.
says constituent list on it.
Yeah, so look for the word constituent, open it up. Hopefully, it will open to the worksheet that says, double click on your name, and that's the title of the worksheet. And then I put a lot of great instructions into the worksheet, which I should have done in the first place, to double click on the number next to your name, which will then open up a new worksheet to the left, which will be called detail, either detail 1, 2, 3. Now, I used to say I would love it if you just deleted them so that we could keep a clean spreadsheet. But this month, I'm gonna try something new and tell everyone, do not delete. Then we can find out who actually accessed their constituents. And I can reach out to those who did not create their lists and say, hey, are you having problems finding your constituents? I'm happy to help. And it's not a like tattling, it's just a way for me to know who might need more help. So I hope that helps.
The details will allow you to delete them, or
Oh, that's good.
because mine's detailed
And I-
too, and I have not been able to delete it.
Oh, good. I've been trying to lock it down so that we don't get so many corruptions in the worksheet, so I guess I've done a good job. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know.
So this, and to your point, Molly, this is kind of like a safety net to make sure we're not letting staff slip through the cracks of being kept with the most up-to-date information. It's our job to make sure we're doing our best to keep them informed about what's ongoing. So thank you very much for that, Molly. So going back to the staff town hall real quick, that's gonna be March 19th, and it's gonna be in the Union Family Room. Let me double check my notes here. And I'd like to thank Christina for being able to set it up so quickly. She did it in a matter of like 3 days, so thank you for organizing that. Could you remind me when what time it starts again?
Yep, it starts at 3 and it's for 1 hour. And if you could encourage your constituents to go to the survey link to voice their concerns, questions, feedback. That link closes Monday, March 11 at 5 p.m. Now, I plan to send out an all staff reminder tomorrow. But if on Friday you want to nudge your constituents and remind them again, or Monday morning, if you want to forward that out to your constituents and remind them again, give them a nudge, that'd be awesome.
Thank you very much. Okay. And I would encourage, like, if anyone who missed town hall, there were some questions regarding the restructure that were asked at town hall. So if you have time, it might be before the 19th to review it. I would encourage you to do so, just to help get an idea of some of the questions that were asked and maybe need to be asked again for further clarification. Hope that makes sense. Okay, next up, I think I wrote this. So I will be working with Secretary Grossinger, with some regarding attendance. The last couple meetings now, there's been some absences here and there, and we want to. I know our lives are really busy and it's tough, but it's very important to attend the staff senate meetings, and in order to be able to vote. If we don't have enough for a quorum, it can hinder progress being made at some point. So thank you everyone who's here today and on Zoom. But just know if viewing this recording, we will be taking a look to see where we might be having some issues with attendance to try and see how can we make sure those senators aren't falling behind. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes, sir.
I just want to add that we also want to make sure that they're not having any issues with their supervisors.
Correct. Thank you, Secretary Garner, for chiming in. So we want to be able to accommodate and figure out how we can help senators be here. That is also strong. So one check. Oh, one last update I have for myself is website work is progressing. Thank you for the fast team. If you ever hear this recording, they work very fast, as their name implies. I'm actually quite shocked. I have very little experience in website design, so that is progressing. I'd like to also give a shout out to Senator Jackson for his work with the headshots for some senators that were available. Thank you very much. And the website is progressing, making good headway on that. About that. So I think that's all I have. I believe Vice President Henderson here today, or did she, and I forget, did she have any updates?
She did, she submitted it to Jessica.
Oh, so sorry, I'm so sorry.
I have a proxy. She gave me a short update I'll read now. Academics Forum for Deans and Directors was held yesterday, March 5th. Here's a summary of the meeting. Restorative Justice Program information was presented by Ryan O'Neill. Restorative justice is a communal approach to prevent or respond to harm with an emphasis on healing, social support, and active accountability. Some restorative practices help prevent harm and empowering people to build relationships and strengthen communities. Their practices respond to harm by helping to clearly identify harms, needs, solutions, and accountability through an inclusive and collaborative decision-making process. Tammy Beeman Deal wants to. Benham. Tammy Benham Deal wants to remind everyone about some upcoming deadlines. Annual performance evaluations for faculty and postdoctoral associates must be completed in Wildfolio no later than March 17th. Annual performance evaluations for staff and administrators must be completed in HCM no later than March 31st. Faculty job descriptions, i.e. workload distributions and activities expectations recorded in WyoVita are preferred by May 1st, but no later than May 17th. And that concludes the updates you provided.
And Secretary Grosvenor, do you have any updates for Secretary?
I do wanna just reiterate that for officer positions, like please nominate someone. I'm technically under a year, so I shouldn't be an officer, but I took this position because Tim asked me to. I noticed this immediately after being appointed secretary. And I hope to point that out that I'm not supposed to be here, but I'll continue doing the job until someone's nominated. So if you're interested in taking minutes, attendance and participating in the officer meetings, please let me know. I can kind of help transition someone into the position officially and have someone elected instead of appointed.
Thank you very much. I know a member at large, Nicole Nelson is away, but I believe she does have a proxy.
I didn't get anything from
Okay, thank you, sir. Director of Outreach and Engagement, update. Yep.
She was. I swear she was.
Oh, she's not.
She might have gotten off because she was at the dentist today, so she.
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be a rough day.
Brush your teeth. Yeah, if you hear this later, that was a joke, I'm so sorry.
It's probably.
Okay, we'll move into legislative affairs update. Okay, all right, so we'll move right into liaison reports with Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, Inclusion with Senator Tang.
That meeting has not been scheduled yet. I have not been contacted for a meeting yet, but I have to report for the next one, which is APC meeting.
Okay, why don't you just go right ahead to the
All right.
APC.
Sounds good. There's a couple highlights, but the meeting minutes has been uploaded to the Staff Senate show house. The first highlight is, we probably all know the 3 swimmers, the tragedy happened, the swimming team from almost 2 weeks ago. They did a GoFundMe. So really waiting like 3 or 4 days, they raised like $134,000 to support those families. There are a couple new projects that has been going on. We probably already noticed the half the stadium is gone, but they are working on it. Hopefully it can be accomplished by the end of the summer. A couple other projects also going on is outdoor track resurfacing and indoor track resurface, and also new lighting in the football stadium. But if you want to look at more information, both meeting minutes in the Staff Senate liaison report photo. Thank you.
Senator Tang, just wanted to clarify, I believe you reminded me of something regarding the passing of the swimmers. I believe there's a memorial tonight at the AA starting, or is it 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock, I think yours at 5:30, but yeah, thank you very much.
Of course.
Campus Safety Working Group, Senator Moody, I believe you talked about this briefly earlier.
Yeah, they had the first meeting last week while I was on vacation, so I have not gotten a report from them.
And they meet once a month?
That was the first meeting and I don't know if they decided they were gonna meet once a month or not. I have not heard anything. And I had a report.
Enterprise Risk Management Advisory Council, Senator Heck.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, Enterprise Risk Management.
Oh, okay. I was not able to attend the meeting because due to prior arranged conflict, I did a request in meeting minutes, but they have not sent it yet. We have another one coming up, so hopefully I have more updates next time.
Senator Heck. External Relation Connections and Communications Working Group, Senator Tyvek.
We've met one time and they've never set another meeting.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's some meeting.
Thank you for that. Food Security Task Force, Senator Monaghan.
Thank you, President Como. So just a couple of things. So if any of the individual food cabinets on the campus need a restock, they should contact the main pantry. Now that the meat lab is up and running again, if people have access to a freezer that they can store meat in, let me know and I can coordinate that to get that and put it in the appropriate freezers around the food cabinets around campus. And then also the student assistant to the food insecurity coordinator is doing a scavenger hunt where she wants to try and get people to know about the different food cabinets around campus and if they want their cabinet to be part of the scavenger hunt. So people would do a little contest where they find the most or whatever, and there'd be a little, I don't know, prize at the end. But if they want to participate in that contest, let me know if you have a food cabinet in your offices, and then I will send you the directions for how to do that. Thanks.
So the scavenger hunt is a way to raise awareness of where.
Right, yeah, just where they're located, because, yeah, people might go to night hall, but maybe they have like a bunch of classes in a certain building and it's just easier for them to go to that specific cabinet.
Awareness is always good. Thank you for doing it. And moving right into your next one, FSL task force.
Yeah, fraternity and sorority life task force. So among that different task force, there's different subcommittees. I'm on the safety one and then the visioning. So I can scan this and send it, and it's probably easier than passing around. But in spring 2020, right before or as the pandemic was starting, fraternity and sorority life commissioned a company called Dyad Strategies to do a survey. There was about a 35% response rate among our fraternity and sorority members. And it compares those members' views of safety to other fraternity and sorority life communities across the country, and then to other students in general who are not affiliated. So there was a series of recommendations, and then as a subcommittee, we're meeting about recommendation categories to give to the president's office about what UW needs to do. So in terms of overarching policy, mental health, substance use and misuse, hazing, sexual assault and interpersonal violence, belongingness, accountability, and environmental wellness. We're gonna come up with a series of suggestions in those 8 different categories. And then the visioning committee does not meet until after spring break, so the 20th.
So maybe next step in April, there might be more update on that.
All I have for now.
Oh, sorry, you'll finish.
Does your visiting group try to determine where our fraternities and sororities are headed for the future? Is that your main focus, or what?
It is about the future, and specifically like in regards to recruitment and retention. We're trying to determine if belonging in a fraternity and sorority like improves the retention from freshman to sophomore year in particular. And then at UW, about 80% of alumni who donate had been in a fraternity or sorority, so it's a large donor base as well. And really to engage those alum who say that they care so much and do donate, but like what's happening like with the chapters now to make sure that they're here, you know, in another 10, 15, 100 years, so.
Senator
Did the dyad strategies report show that we compare across other institutions very well or unfavorably? Or do you have?
There's like variation, I can
variation,
share
okay.
it to you, but it's favorable in some areas, less favorable in others. So among, at the University of Wyoming, you're more likely to be hazed if you're in a fraternity or sorority. But compared to being in a fraternity or sorority on other campuses, W is not as high, so stuff like, there's pros and cons, so.
Thank you.
Like hazing isn't as bad for members of the community being like at UW if you're gonna be in that community, but it's still higher than if you weren't. So that's one area. Substance abuse, the rates are different for sorority versus fraternity. I think belongingness is like a little bit similar, but just a very slight variation, that's standard deviation. So, I'm happy to support or scan that and send it to everyone.
Yeah, can you make that a PDF or just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, I believe next is Freedom of Expression Initiative Center title.
Not, well, if they've met, I have not been.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think it's pretty, might have an updated name in April, but it is pretty new about the call. Thank you for being on it. Okay, next up is Green Dot Community Center.
Yes, there are 2 events coming up this spring. Let me grab my report here. All right, so it's great if you could share these dates with students. Well, this one date with students on March 22nd, we will have a Green Dot, not overview, but a training with free food. That's always a good reason to have to come to campus on. And then on April 9th, there will be faculty staff overviews offered, or a overview offered. I believe that is in-person overview, and usually these are gonna take place in the Union Family Room or Union Ballrooms. I don't have the location at this point, but everything's updated on the website.
What was it? It was April, what was that?
April 9 for the faculty staff overview.
Thank you.
March 27th.
Anything else, Emily? Public Art Committee Senators.
We will be meeting this week. We've had a hard time meeting because a lot of the members of the committee are part of the Visual Arts College and Laramie Public Art and stuff, and they've just been super busy, so we haven't been able to meet yet.
Eric, were you talking about a mural last time?
Yeah, and so they said they generated a subcommittee with the Washki director, Eric Webb, along with somebody from Laramie and somebody from the Visual Arts School. And I haven't heard anything since them forming it.
Right, were those for the residence hall, the new ones?
Yeah, the new one, yeah. And I don't know if it's gonna be a mural or an art installation, it could be a sculpture. I think that's just one of the things they want to start talking about. So if it doesn't require any structural components that need to be built into the building, they have that in place.
That makes sense. I noticed they put in windows recently. All right, next up, Parking Committee update with Senator Van Cleef.
We finally scheduled our meeting. It is the 26th of March, so at our next meeting, I should actually have an answer for you.
26th March, thank you very much. Did Senator Van Cleef, were you looking for someone to take over this committee for FY 25 or?
Yes, I am looking for somebody to take over this committee in FY 25. I have talked to Senator Archer. I'm trying to twist her arm really hard because she got on staff senate for the same reason I did, which is parking. but I don't have an answer yet. So if anybody wants to volunteer, please, let me know.
So if you're interested in serving on the parking committee, please reach out to Senator Bankley. All right, that concludes liaison reports. We're moving into committee reports, starting with the recognition committee and Senator.
Thank you, President Como. We had a meeting yesterday and we covered quite a bit. The food, we're still working with concessions. They will be providing most of the food. We're still trying to come up with some vegetarian options, and so we've gotten some suggestions there. We'll be checking those out. The pizza places in town, we've tried to get them to volunteer to donate some pizzas, and most of them have said no, so we're not gonna do pizza, we're gonna go a different route. Faculty sign up, we've had some faculty that have signed up to come help serve food. And as the provost said, he's going to encourage them as well, so hopefully we'll have enough faculty to come and help serve that day. The games are all pinned down and they will be delivered that morning, so we may need to have people there to help get things going early in the morning, but we'll talk about that more later. For off-campus employees, we're going to do a minute to win it game. We are looking for someone to be on Wildcast that day in order to work with the off-campus people that would possibly join to do the minute to win it. So if anybody's interested in being that person to kind of head that up, please let me know. You can just email that to me and I would appreciate that help. Years of service certificates have all been printed and we selected the 15-year gift yesterday. The rest of them we've had, but we didn't have one for 15 years. So that was the decision that was made yesterday, and Christina will get those ordered. So they're here in plenty of time for Staff Recognition Day. Award nominations are coming in. The one category that we do not have any responses yet are off campus. So if anybody knows of off-campus sites that have people that maybe would be good to nominate for this award, please let us know. We're going to be trying to contact some of those off-campus sites to make sure that they all know that there is an award that their people can be nominated for. Next meeting is next Tuesday. We're going to start meeting every week now until Staff Recognition Day. So if anybody would like to join us, we meet on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. That's my report.
Thank you very much for all your work with SRD. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Do you meet on Zoom or do you meet in person?
We do meet on Zoom.
Yes.
Do you have a staff or staff senate sign up sheet so we can help on?
It is on the SharePoint. Thank you.
SharePoint, it is SharePoint.
It's on SharePoint. So yes, you can go on to SharePoint and sign up to either work with the games. There's several things on there. So we are going to need staff senators to come. All staff senators should be at Staff Recognition sometime during the day to help out. We will have different games that people will be playing and we'll need people to give tickets. We are not going to have gifts per se that everybody will get when they come in. They'll come in, they'll play games, and then they can take their tickets over, and the gifts that we do have, they can put their tickets in, and then we'll do drawings for the gifts. So one thing I did forget to say is TIAA has agreed they will be donating $5,000 for Staff Recognition Day. And the Honors College has said that they will do $500 again this year. And so we will be deciding next week. Last year, that money from Honors College was used to purchase things and make baskets to have as gifts for people to earn as they play their games. We'll talk about that next Tuesday and see if we want to do the same thing again this year, so.
And so on that note, since we're getting closer, do you need some yard game stuff? I don't know if there's room, I can help out.
I think this year we probably are gonna try and keep everything inside.
Sure, no, I mean, yeah,
Because of the fact that last year we had that big golf thing and then the weather was, it was cold and nobody used it, so. Jen Payton has been working, her and Christina have been working with the two places that we rented from last year. And they have some really good games that are coming up, and then we'll have some other little games that we had, like Connect Four, and we had a couple other games that we got. We are not going to do bingo this year. We're going to, we were going to do that in Mickey's Bar, but we decided yesterday that let's not have it this year. That way people have somewhere to go and sit if they want to. And then if people say, oh, well, what about bingo, then we'll reevaluate that for next year.
I think that's wise, given how.
The issue is that they're giving us the arena for free. The only thing is, if we ask specifically for tables and chairs to be set up, then they start charging us for those, to set up those items. So we're trying really hard not to have as many tables and chairs, but in that area, it's already set up, so in that Mickey's Bar area, they'll be able to go and sit. We will have them set up tables and chairs for the awards portion of Staff Recognition Day. But it'll be kind of a smaller amount of chairs. There are places to stand around and up and be able to see the awards, things that are going on.
Anything else?
Any questions?
If we have prizes, can I just drop them off to you, or
Yeah.
where would you like them?
Yeah, you just drop them off to me. I've sent out an email to all the departments, the colleges, all across campus. We're trying to get donations from on campus and not as many off campus donations this year. And I've had several that have said that they will donate different things. So hopefully we'll have enough that we can, for the smaller people that win smaller amounts of tickets, maybe, you know, hopefully we'll have something for them as well.
Thank you. Staff Relations Committee, Senator Chen.
My minutes were shared with everyone in that SharePoint. Brief overview is that Pace for Change updates, I asked that be presented in the monthly deep dive every month. And he wasn't able to do it until March because February's calendar was already full. So yes, he thought that was a great idea, and I'll start implementing that this month. We talked about an overview, pretty much the same thing that he reported and to all of us about Pace for Change. He went into some of the things about mission driven and one-offs of people being mission driven, or whether they would fall under procurement. He did say that 7/1 is the optimal date that they plan to roll this out. Still going with the deans and the cabinet members to a couple more meetings, and then they would be done. We also talked about we used to have a financial contact person on campus for Wild Cloud issues. Since she has been gone, it's just submitting Wild Cloud help tickets, and that's they don't get answered a lot. So we're working with him on some issues about that, like there's no vacation delegate that you can make for the costing module, those sitting someone's approval list. IDTs and expenditure corrections are a manual process. Payroll expenditure corrections are way behind. It's a manual process. So we're working on some of those systems being addressed anyway. Lastly, we ran out of time to nominate our next chair for this committee next year, but we did it via email, and Megan Monahan has stepped up to take that position. She will do a great job.
Thank you very much for stepping up, Senator Monahan, for that.
I'm excited but nervous, but I have a great committee.
Thank you, Senator Check, for all your work. Vivian, anything else?
Right.
Okay. Then we're gonna move on to governance committee with Senator Ham.
Okay, thank you, President Como. I don't have much more to share. Most of what you've said, I've said at other points. The important thing is we're trying to get new senators. And now if you know people who are interested, or if you know, the person that isn't interested, but they would do a really great job. And the reason I'm here is someone else nominated me, and I don't know who it was, and I also wasn't sure if I would accept it even then. But yeah, nominate people. You never know if they will come forward. So if you're interested in putting up a poster in your area or sharing an email, I put together something and we've put some up in service building, right?
Yep.
And so Christina has access to that as well, if she, the poster. So if you don't want to print it, like I didn't want to, I said, Christina, please print it because I don't have a budget in my area for printing for staff senate, and she might. And then nominations for officers are also coming. So please, again, nominate someone. You never know, they might be really flattered and say no, but flatter someone. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for passing the bylaws. That will make our life in governance a lot easier, because now we can concentrate on the other duties of governance. I don't think I have anything else.
Well, Senator, and I'm very glad you mentioned nominating someone if you might be interested in staff senate, because it kind of leads into public comment. And just you want about this?
I can certainly start. Thank you, President Como. One of my coworkers, Jordan Joyner, has expressed interest. She's does a great job at work and she wants to get more involved with the community. So I wanted to have her come and possibly talk with Senate. Because I didn't really know the process for having someone come into Senate. So that was why I had that question earlier, if there was a process. So I just talked with Adam and we decided that let's have her come talk to Senate and then we can start whatever process there is for that.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So my comment is, do they not have to be an employee for a year before they can serve?
So that
is part of the discussion we're having with Jordan.
Okay.
So if someone is under probation and they're doing really well, in her case, she's already been promoted to business manager from accounting associate. They can communicate with their supervisor, and then their supervisor can take that probation to the vice president and get that probation reduced.
So, on that note, Jordan, since you're here, thank you very much for being here today. Would you like to just say some stuff about yourself and address
Sure. So I have been here for a short time, but I've had a lot of fun. I wanted to get more involved in the community and it kind of came up at a perfect time for me. I was discussing with my supervisor before I ever even thought of this, how I wanted to be more involved. And then this came up and we both agreed that it would be a great place for me to be. So we're working together on addressing the VP to possibly get my probation reduced at this time so that I can be more involved in this.
And I apologize, I may have missed this. Now, can you remind me your position where you're working on campus?
I'm a business manager in the
Just as you're calling.
Correct.
Well, thank you for being here today. I hope this was a good experience with seeing in person kind of how SME can show stuff. Any questions or from senators? They're all we're in open forum. Public comment, my apologies. Yes, sorry.
Megan was just whispering something that's.
Governance chair for clarification.
That was
to
a
make sure
good
it was
question. I thought
project.
that she should say out loud, but basically, I think that any member of staff can serve on committees as a staff member without being a senator too. So just as you know, it's like a proxy. So if you ever want to join any of our committees prior to becoming a senator, you are very welcome. And we can share the information about when we meet. Like, we have 3 standing committees. The the Staff Relations Committee, which is now Megan's. The Recognition Committee, which is yours still, with the co-chair, or no?
Yes.
Co-chair Debbie Swedek? No, am I wrong? Who's?
No.
Oh, Alex.
Alex.
Me.
Alex, I'm always confused. Anyway, and then the Governance Committee. So those are our 3 standing committees. If you ever want to join us, you are invited and welcome.
Thank you. All right, any other public comment? All right, seeing none, we have a motion to adjourn this March Staff Senate meeting.
Make a motion that we adjourn the March 24 meeting.
Do we have a second? Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adjournment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, indicate by saying nay. All right, thank you, everyone. One last note, I'll be out of the office this Friday and next Monday at work Tuesday. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.